we have a new grouping of charges. These are called polyatomic ions. They're called polyatomic. Poly means, anybody know?
More than one.
More than one. So more than one atom ions. They're groups of atoms, and the whole group of the atoms, the combination, has a single charge. For example, in this one we have the sulfate ion. The sulfate ion contains 1 sulfur and 4 oxygens. That combination of 5 atoms has a total net charge of -2. Okay? So if I changed the number of sulfur and the number of oxygens, I no longer have what's called the sulfate ion. Okay? These polyatomic ions, you will have a reference sheet for them. So it's not something that you would have to know that SO4, -2, is the sulfate ion. You're going to get a reference sheet that's going to remind you what each polyatomic ion is. But the way that the polyatomic ions work is if I combine the sulfate ion with a sodium ion, which has a +1 charge, I'm going to need 2 sodiums to cancel out the sulfate. Okay? 2 sodiums combining with the sulfate looks like this. Na2SO4. Notice I didn't change anything about the SO4. This -2 switch places with the +1 of the sodium. Can I reduce this? I've got a 2 and a 4. Can I reduce that?
Yeah.
SO4, that's your whole unit, so you can't reduce that. I wanted you to say yes, but you can't. Okay? In the next example, I'm going to combine sulfate with the calcium ion, and the calcium ion has a +2. So the calcium is +2, and the sulfate is a -2. So I need 1 calcium and 1 sulfate. That formula looks like this. CaSO4. The 1 for the calcium is understood, and the SO4, there's only 1 of them. Okay? And if I combined it with aluminum, which has a +3.
Please excuse the interruption. Would Jason Gagnon please come to the office?
Aluminum has a +3, which means I need 2 aluminums and 3 sulfates to cancel it. This is where you have to crisscross. Al +3, SO4 -2. So this 2 comes down to the aluminum, and the 3 goes to the sulfate. So will I have 7 here? How do I group things in math? If I want a certain group of things, parentheses, right. Okay, so I'm going to parentheses around the sulfate and put a little 3 on the outside. So now I know that I need 2 aluminums and 3 sulfates.
This is Scott.
Okay. It's all right. We're going to practice. This is why you would videotape this, watch this at home, and then come in and practice in class.
So this is the one you videotaped?
I'm videotaping it.
Right now?
Right now. Not yet.
You're gonna make a big office. That'd be sweet if I just watched TV one day and I just saw Mrs. Common.
Could you go back?
Yes.
Some fish stuff.
You're not going to